Right. So I'm going to be showing you the 5 steps using your unique power to convert clients with ease. Okay, cool. So just so you know who I am, Jen Hall. I'm a best-selling author and award-winning speaker and business coach. I'm a best-selling author of a book called Expert Unrivaled, which is actually very, very newly released. So it's brand new. You can grab it on Amazon. Actually, you know what? I've actually forgotten to take it off its promotion price. So if you're quick, then you can grab that at a really good deal at the moment. So yeah, so you can go and grab that on Amazon if you want to. I've been featured in things, BBC Wales, I've been in YFS magazine, been featured on Lives and Psychologies, and Thrive Global and various other places. Okay, this is me. Obviously you saw me a second ago. This is me and my little my little girl, who is hopefully, fingers crossed, going to stay in bed. She's in orders to go straight to sleep, but you might hear a little pitter patter of feet and a voice coming up the stairs saying, "Mummy, I can't sleep." In which case she'll be sitting. Hopefully the webinar will bore her to sleep. Fingers crossed it's going to be exciting for you guys. But I remember being in the car with her about a month ago, and I was listening to an audiobook, and she said, "Mummy, look, you know, I am still a kid and I like learning and everything." She's only 5, mind. "I like learning and everything, but, you know, please can we put the radio on?" So this might send her to sleep if she does come up. But this is me. That's my everyday photo of my daughter, and there's my fancy schmancy pants photo there. Fab. Right. So I want to take you through some questions before we begin, because it's really important to kind of get to grips with where you are at. So I want you to ask yourself, do you actually feel truly wanted in the marketplace? Do you feel that love from people, that people, you know, perhaps tag you, shout you out, or, you know, queuing up to work with you, approaching you all the time? Do you have a lot of discovery calls? Are you feeling the love from the market? You know, and feel free, if you want to, put those answers in the comments or just take a mental note. Next question I'm going to ask you is, how confident do you feel in how you communicate what you do? Are you a waffler? Are you somebody who takes ages to explain, or people look at you with kind of a weird, confused look, and kind of make that, "Oh, right," and then it kind of leaves on a weird angle? Leslie says, "Confidence is my main point all the way." Okay, cool. So it's about, you know, feeling confident in how you introduce yourself and tell people what you do is super important. And I know you know that, otherwise you wouldn't be pointing it out. So I want you to ask, like, after you've tried to explain what you do you think that people truly understand the benefit of working with you? Or are you left continually explaining, you know, why it would be great to work with you? Again, you pop it into the comments or just take a mental note, that's fine. And do you feel like people actually recognize your genius? Are your expertise, you know, do people feel like they're needed? Are you known in the marketplace? So if you have said no to any of those questions, you are totally in the right place. And if you've been struggling to easily attract and convert clients that aren't through word of mouth referral, because it's fab, isn't it? When we work with somebody and we see that they've got these great results, you get these referrals. And when they come through, they tend to be a lot easier to convert because they've already got the backing of somebody else. But when it comes to those colder people who are just kind of coming across you on social media, have maybe heard you on a podcast, you know, if you're struggling to attract those people into your arena, then you're definitely in the right place. And if you struggle to sell your high-end packages, so if you've got a high-end package that you really struggle to sell, or perhaps any packages at all, there is no judgment here. You may be struggling to sell any of your packages, and if that's the case, you are definitely in the right place. And if you're struggling to price your packages above a certain price point, so if you're starting to feel the struggle, and you're starting to feel like, "Oh goodness, I'm already struggling to kind of sell things at the moment, so I'm not going to put my prices any higher because they're not selling at the current price point," if that's you, you're in the right place. And if you really truly feel that people don't really know what you're about until you've had a full-on conversation with them, or that you're able to explain an example or something, it's not a quick quick this description decision, you are in the right place. So what I said earlier on about one of the sins, it was really important to me to get under the skin of this sin that I see going on around on the internet at the moment. Now, this isn't everybody. This isn't, I'm not tarring everyone with the same brush, but I've seen a lot of it where people, and this is not just recently, this has happened since I've been around online, which has been the last kind of 3 years really, where I've been online. And you see these Facebook ads of coaches who are selling lifestyle brands, who are maybe in Bali with a glass of champagne, and or you see these massive posts. And by the way, I just want to put my hands up here, I'm not in an ivory tower here. I absolutely fell into this trap when I first started out, and I first started to make a lot of money. I would go out there and you know what, there's a point of celebration where you're like, oh, I've made lots of money, this is fab, it's great, and I want to shout about it. But then you can take it one step further and you can start using that as your point of attraction, and people think that everybody just wants money, and so they start trying to sell this lifestyle brand. And you know what, I'm cool with it to a point, as long as there's some expertise behind it. It's when I see people who really have no expertise selling these lifestyle brands, and I'm just not up for that. I think it's unethical to take money off of somebody and then deliver rubbish to them, or produce another cookie cutter like coach out the other side. They sort of come in and they come out another one of them, and that kind of conveyor belt of ickiness really. And I am totally dead set against that. But I know, because of my branding and the way I market myself, that every single one of you on this webinar today have genuine expertise. Even if you feel imposter syndrome, even if you perhaps don't feel as confident. And I know there are people on this webinar now who I have worked with, both in a partnership point of view and both as clients as well, who are sitting on this webinar now. And I know that they have some, not mentioning any names at all, but I know that at some point, and including myself, we've all suffered with confidence issues, but you still have genuine expertise. And it's time for you to own them. And it's time for you to get known for those expertise, and don't fall into the trap of this whole lifestyle brand without the actual physical expertise behind it. You want to really be serving people, really be adding genuine value. And I know that every single person on here is on that train too. And just to show that we're all together in the same boat on this, give me a high five or a hell yes in the comments to let me know that you're on this train as well, to actually become known for something decent, for actually helping people, for actually doing something of value, instead of just sell, fill the bank. Because I think it's really important we all come together on this. Fab. Everybody is high-fiving and hell yesing. Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. Right. So let's get stuck in. I'm going to show you how to use your unique power to convert clients with ease. When I talk about unique power, I'm talking about your zone of genius. I'm talking about your expertise. Can I get a hell yes and an oh yes? And I cannot wait to get stuck in with this. But I have a big truth bomb for you. The responsibility for all of this is on you. And it has been on you since the beginning of your entrepreneurial journey. But what I want to tell you is, it is not your fault if you haven't got to where you are, if you don't know how to do it. I have read over the years numerous business books, taken training courses, listened to people, I've done so much work. And do you know what? It's very rare that you actually find the how on how to start. You say, starting a business or whatever else, make sure you're doing something you're passionate about. Well, great, thanks very much, right? Yeah, I guess, and particularly as a woman, we tend to want to be passionate about what we're doing. We want to make a difference. We want to change the world, right? Generally, that's how we kind of start. We think, yeah, I'm going to make a real difference here. And that's it. You tick that box. You're like, great, I've got the passion. Fab, that's great. So now you go and sign on at the tax office and go and get yourself sorted legally. Great, I've done that. Okay, so then you just go and tell everybody what you're doing, and then wait. That has been the level of business advice that I've had in the past. And it is not your fault that you have come to this point in your journey where you are still struggling to get clients. It is not your fault. Yes, it's your responsibility, but it's not your fault. So I want to show you in this webinar very simply how to tighten up your value proposition to try and take the struggle and the stress off of your money making. So hold on to your hats if you have a hat, otherwise hold on to your chair, grab a pen, grab your pad, turn off your phone, focus, and it's ready to learn these steps. So I always start with this. Trust me, this is a different webinar, I promise you. If anyone's watched webinars from me before, they're like, oh, of course it goes back to that again. But it really does. It always goes back to this. You know, who gives you money? People do. And the only way people are going to give you the money is if you find out who they are. Who is going to give you money? So getting clear on who you are helping is essential. And it's not, people think that they can spend 5 minutes on this and be done and move on. Getting to know who your ideal client is, and more about the steps that I'm going to take you through, is time consuming. It takes a lot of thought, and it takes a lot of checking with somebody else, and it takes a bit of market research as well. It's really important that you take the time to make sure that you get this step right. And I'm going to talk more about the steps, about what I mean by get clear on who. So the aim of what we're trying to do, so when I talk about using your unique power to convert clients with ease, basically what we're doing is you're taking your expertise and we're making them want it. It's really important that we make them wanted, because right now you could, oh, hold on, I've gone backwards. Right now, you are in a position where you have fabulous value, you've got amazing expertise, but nobody's snapping them up. So what we need to do is we need to demonstrate two things to the person you're serving: the value and the transformation. Okay, in very simplistic terms, this is what everything comes back to. So if you're going to take one idea, one slide away from this, I can't vouch that I'm not going to say this on another slide, just saying that now, but this is really important. It always comes back to these two things: demonstrate value, show them the transformation that they're going to receive. This is imperative to making you wanted by the people who were made to work with you. So one of the biggest mistakes that people make is talking about their own expertise and their own processes. And, you know, I've got this amazing technique, or, you know, I help you go through this particular process. But actually what people care about is how you help them solve their problems and achieve their goals. That's it. That's all they care about. They don't really at this point care about how you do it. They just want to know that you're going to get them there. Now, the how is still an important part of this, so don't think I'm disregarding this in any way, shape or form. But from the very outset, actually telling them how you can solve their problem, achieve their goal. And I promise to tell people in my group, if anyone's in my group, I promise to tell people when the exact point of conversion actually takes place. And it comes at the point of communication. The moment that you start telling people what you do is the moment that you start converting. And we've been going through, inside of my group on Facebook, we've been going through a headline challenge. Okay, so a headline for your content does about 80 to 90% of the work. 80 to 90% of the work, because if people don't click into your article, then everything you've written beyond the headline is absolutely pointless. So this is the same thing. If you don't grab people's attention when you're telling them the headline of what you do, then everything you say beyond that point is lost and pointless. So this is the point of conversion. You really could have the best expertise in the world, but they're completely useless if they're not positioned to the market correctly. It's critical that we stop talking about our processes, and and our methods and our systems. And even, for instance, people who say, oh, I'm a law of attraction coach, that's still a process. It's not a result. You're not selling a result. You're not selling the outcome that people want, and you're not telling them what problem you're solving either. Nobody cares what you are. They care how you're going to help them. So one of the best ways to make sure that you understand who your ideal client is to actually look at who do they want to become. This is key. And this is, I guess, a little nugget that will probably change your view on anything. It'll blow your mind, and you will start to look at things differently after I tell you this. But everybody buys things that improves their status or their identity. So let me give you an example of this for Andy. Okay, so Andy's my partner, and I've also helped him set up his business. And we've, as you can imagine, worked a lot on Ideal Client, because Ideal Client is one of my specialisms, and it's something that I forced him to look at because I knew how important it is. And even he does, he admits now, it's the best thing he ever did. But he helps people to get to Everest Base Camp, both logistically, but also in mindset and physicality as well. So he runs trainings and all those kinds of things too. And when we looked at the kind of people that he wanted to work with, they were the people who wanted a challenge. They were the outdoors type who didn't just want to do the run-of-the-mill stuff, join the cycling club or whatever else. They wanted to be the people who can come back and tell a story, something to be proud of, a life achievement goal that they've completed. That's what they really want. They've got a reputation to uphold, that they are always pushing the limits, always pushing the boundaries, always doing the next exciting thing. That's who they want to become. They want to become a great adventurer, that, or at least that's a reputation. And so they have to continue doing that. If they, for instance, let's just say they did Everest Base Camp, well, they've got to think about something next. What are they going to do? Maybe K2 or something. But they've got to keep that reputation up. People move towards things that keeps that identity and withholds that reputation. Even his ideal client even dresses in a certain way. They will spend more in an outdoors shop than they will in a suit shop. They will make sure that everything that they do actually upholds that identity that they want to achieve. So think about the person who you want to help, and think about who they want to become, because once you know that information is so powerful, because then you can look at what you do, your power, your unique power, and how that might help them become who they want to be. The second step, after you've looked at who it is you want to help, and if you've got any questions, by the way, do just pop them in the comment box and let me know. If I'm going through anything and you're like, whoa, hold on, you skip past that, and I've got some more questions about that, pop it in the comments. So the next step is getting clear on the problem. Okay, so I know I've included some more humorous pictures. I looked at my last webinars and thought these are pretty dull. I need to make them slightly more exciting to watch. So I have put some pictures in here. But getting clear on the problem is imperative, because if you haven't got a problem to solve, then you don't have a business. End of. Now, for some businesses, this is easier than others. And for some, finding the problem will be problematic for people to go, okay, so what problem am I actually solving with the expertise that I have? Or it might be much easier. So for instance, Nikki, who hopefully is still on the webinar, she is a weight loss coach. Now, obviously, we know what problem she's solving. That's quite clear. So she has an easier time of it. But there are people out there who, and that may be you, who find it quite difficult to look at the problem. But even if you do know what problem it is that you solve, there are layers to this problem that we need to dive into, and I'm going to dive into those a little bit now with you. So the first thing I want you to think about is, where are they now? What is the struggle? What is going on for them? Not just directly, so that problem might be impacting them directly, but it also might be indirectly affecting them. It could be affecting their mindset, it could be affecting their relationships, their finances, their social life, their well-being, their health. There could be so many things that this particular problem is affecting. And so knowing how that problem affects the rest of their life is key to your marketing, because this is where your content marketing comes to life, and that you're able to identify and emotionally connect with your ideal clients. So have a really good think. And if it's easier to think about it as what is their hell, because if we can be a bit dramatic about it, we can start to tap into our kind of, I guess, our creative zone. So have a think about what it is that's going on for the moment. What is the struggle? What's the hell-like situation? And how is that impacting directly on a particular problem and also indirectly to those things around them? Now, this is where it gets really interesting. So within that problem, there is, and perhaps even within your health situation that you might have written out, is looking at the external and the internal problem. There are two different problems for your ideal client. And FedEx is a great example of a company who found success once they had this kind of moment of clarity, where they said the moment that they realized that they were selling peace of mind, and they weren't actually, even though the external problem is moving, items from one place to another, but actually the internal problem is peace of mind, making sure that things got to where they needed to go, was the moment that their success skyrocketed. They've been quoted, the owner of this, the founder of this, was quoted to say this. The moment that they realized they were selling peace of mind was the moment that they skyrocketed their success. So think about your client. What's their external problem and what's their internal problem? You obviously want to be talking about both, but finding the differentiating factors of both of them is key. And people are actually more motivated to solve an internal problem because it's emotional. And people buy things emotionally first, and then they like to justify it with logic. And that's where your external problem solving comes in. The other thing to ask yourself is it a genuine urgent problem? So people will pay to move away from pain, but it's got to be acute. It can't be something that's just like mildly bothering them, like for instance, I had somebody, I know I've said this story a million times, but it's just perfect. So I came off stage, and I know I'm an award-winning speaker. However, I do suffer from nerves. I told somebody that I was suffering from nerves. She happened to be a coach that dealt with nerves, funnily enough. And she was basically saying to me that she could help me and I shouldn't have to suffer with it. And she was basically trying to sell me. She was trying to convince me that I needed her help. And I said, I really don't have an issue with it. Yes, I suffer from them, but I've learned to deal with them, and it doesn't stop me from doing anything. Therefore, it's not an acute pain. It's just something I've learned to deal with. It's not anything that I'm going to invest a large sum of time, money, or effort into doing, because it's not that bigger of a deal to me. So make sure that the problem you're solving is a big deal. It has to be affecting them in some way. It has to be painful to make them want to move away from it. So what is going on for your client that's so urgent that they need to move away from it? What's the impact of them staying where they are? That's another question you can ask yourself. It's not on the slide, but what can what will happen if they don't solve it? What's the consequence of that? And again, how is that impacting them directly and indirectly? So I'm just looking. Alessia said, so solving an internal problem is talking about the benefits, right? So an internal problem is an emotional problem. So again, if we go back to looking at FedEx takes from one place in a parcel and they get it to another as quickly as possible. But the internal problem for their customers is that they're concerned and worried that it won't get there, or it won't get there on time or in one piece. And FedEx, the way they sell it, is that they get it to you on time and they can guarantee the delivery. And so that's where the peace of mind comes in. So that's a problem they're solving, the problem of uncertainty that they had when they were posting things through other ways and other methods. They were always frightened that it wasn't going to get there, or it wasn't going to get there on time. So that's the internal problem. I hope that kind of clears that up a little bit for you. You shouldn't have to convince someone that they have a problem, they should already know, or when you point it out to them, it should be very, very easily pointed out, because sometimes things do, people do need a little nudge, but that should be on a very rare occasion. Normally people should be fully 100% aware of what's going on for them that's really painful. They've got to be motivated to move away from it. So step 3 is, how can you use your genius, your unique power, to help them get to their success island? So part of your success island will be the identity that they're trying to achieve or trying to uphold, the reputation they're trying to keep. So think about how you can use your power to help them get there. Think about their ultimate goal. Where are they heading? Forget about where you can get them. Just think about where they're heading. What are they gunning for? What would be the pinnacle? What would be amazing? What would they get there and go, wow, I've got these things, I've got this reputation. Now I'm here, I've got this, and this. What do they physically have? How do they emotionally feel? What's their identity? What's their reputation? What have they achieved? If you can really tap into that, you can start to think about how you can use your genius to help them get that. This is when we start to turn it around. This is where we stop talking about, I've got these expertise, this is what I do, this is my process, this is how we achieve this. And we actually start tapping into the wants and desires of your ideal client. So we need to really think about that. What is their success island? Who are they trying to become? And how can I use my genius to help them get there? So what's your puzzle piece? And I call this the puzzle piece because at the end of the day, I don't know for your ideal client how much of their puzzle has already been filled with pieces. It could be that you only supply a piece of that puzzle. But what you mustn't ever disregard is your contribution to their journey towards their island. You have amazing abilities to get them further on, and you cannot drag people through the whole process, and that's fine. It's fine that you're not helping them get to the whole way to their success island, but you need to see that your contribution to them and their journey is going to help them get further on. Now, it might be actually that your puzzle piece is the last piece to their puzzle to get them towards the success island, then fab, that's great, that's amazing. But for those of you who are worried that your puzzle piece isn't great enough, you need to quit that right now, because there is never in this life just one thing. Never. There's never just one thing to success. You have to be doing, and that's in anything. That's in losing weight, that's in achieving business success, that's in doing anything. So you have to realize that your contribution to their journey is valuable, and it is helping them to get to where they want to go. So think about what's a direct, solid result, and how does that result help to build the bridge across to their ultimate goal? Because when you grab that confidence in knowing the solid outcome that you help somebody achieve, that then pulls into helping them achieve the goal that they want, conversion becomes so much easier. Because if you are not confident in the result that you give, if you are not confident in telling people how you can help them, and how your puzzle piece actually helps them achieve what they want to do, your conversions will always be low. Because if you're not confident in yourself, they will not be confident in you. Bear with me while I just take a sip of water. They will completely lose confidence in you. You have to be confident. It is vital for you to have that. And as Alessia said earlier on, that's something that she's working on at the moment, that she's looking to build that confidence. Because when you get that confidence, that compelling conviction in what you do, you tap into that passion, helping people, and that confidence raises up, conversion becomes so easy. Oh, thank you, Catherine. She said brilliant advice. Now this picture always makes me giggle, and it perfectly sums up the next step, which is to be able to communicate what you do clearly. Because how often do you go to a networking event or even networking online, and people are sort of giving their pictures and whatever else, and you're like, you really are explaining this through interpretive dance. I've got no idea what you do still. It is not clear, or it's dull as anything. So communicating clearly is really important. So here's a bit of advice on communicating clearly. So once you've understood the problem you solve, you understand what puzzle piece that you have, that you give people, that takes them to where they want to go. When you understand all of that and you understand who it is that you're helping, now it's time to put all that together. But remove the fluff. The amount of people I see, once they've got that information, try and fluff it up and flower it up and put marketing spiel on it with alliteration to try and make it sound clever, actually makes it sound vague, and it sounds intriguing for entirely the wrong reasons. In fact, let's remove the word intrigue, the confused. You're going to end up confusing people. Let's not do that. I am a massive fan, and if you're truthful about it, you're a massive fan of understanding what people do, that, you know, doing what it says on the tin. Being vague is not being authoritative, you know, that's being egotistical and hoping that someone might get it. And if you don't get it, well, clearly you're not the one for me. I know nobody on here is like that, but that's how it can come across. Give people a chance. They don't know your background, they don't know your industry, they don't understand fully what goes on day to day in the jargon and whatever else, and perhaps not even the jargon, perhaps a pretty poem that you've put together to describe what you do. Don't do that. Make it clear. Plain language is best. You know, think people say, oh, you know, tell it to a 5-year-old. Maybe not that quite that far, because bless my daughter doesn't, you know, doesn't get stuff, bless her. Let's think about a 10-year-old. Let's be real about it. If you're going to explain to a 10-year-old what you do, they have to be able to understand it. And it's not downplaying and calling people stupid or whatever else. They're not. They just, people like to be able to understand. They don't want to have to think about it. Make it easy for them. You know, it's not a riddle. It's not a puzzle for them to solve. This is about you communicating what you do. Louise says, do you have to be able to communicate your message to people who are not in your industry? Now, this is interesting. It depends how, it really depends on the industry, first of all. But yes, let's just make this black and white here. Yes, if you can communicate your message to people who are not in your industry, your referral levels will go up tenfold, because people who aren't in your industry may know people in that industry, and then they can refer you. So yeah, let's not beat around the bush. Let's make a decision here, Jen. Yeah, definitely make it so people understand what you do. Kat says, I've been that squirrel. That's hilarious. All right, so we're going to give you an amazing slide here. I want you to become pitch perfect. So first of all, when you're pitching, you need to position yourself as a credible expert. So this is where your confidence levels need to come in. You need to start really owning your experience, your background. If you have qualifications, own those. If you've got experience, own that. If you've got time behind you, own it. If you've got awards, own them. If you've got books, own it. Talk about it. Don't be afraid to position yourself as a credible expert. It's really important. So make sure that that's one, you know, people want to know that they're talking to somebody who they should be listening to. So position yourself as a credible expert. Then have a clear one-liner that explains very clearly what it is you do and who you help. It does what it says on the tin. That's how clear it needs to be. Then you need to be able to describe, and this is interesting because this kind of ties into Louise's question, which is the problem. Describe a problem that everyone in the room, ideal client or not, can nod and agree that it is indeed an issue. You know, you need to be as clear as day on, you know, the problem that people are having. Now, obviously, if you're in a room full of industry related people who are all ideal clients, who you know 100% knows the jargon, then cool, you can go into that. But, you know, always err on the side of caution. Be prepared. Let's just say you were talking to an investor who was looking to invest, you know, some money into your business. You need to be able to describe them for them to be able to understand what you do, the problem. So it has to be a problem that everyone in the room would nod and agree is an issue. So you need to learn to describe it in a way that will get people going, aha, yes, there is a problem here that you're solving. Then you need to be looking at describing your radical and unique solution to the problem, which I'm going to come to in a second. But we do need to be looking at your unique solution, not just any old solution, a unique solution to the problem, something that perhaps hasn't been done before. So step 5, this is why that last kind of piece that I spoke about really ties into this. So step 5 is why will working with you solve their problem and help them achieve their goal versus everyone and everything else they could try. This is so important because you need to come with a new solution. So for instance, I'm going to give you an example. I told you I'd mentioned Nikki at some point. So Nikki Campbell is an amazing client of mine, and I've also worked with her myself for my health. She's a weight loss coach, and she has coined an amazing new, I say coined, she's invented an amazing new solution to weight loss. So she has combined intermittent fasting with the keto diet to what she calls the keto fast. And this is brand new. This is totally new. It's unique, and she's about to explode onto the market with this. Well, she is already with this incredible new way of losing weight, which is completely safe to the majority of people. There are candidates who perhaps aren't suitable, but for the majority of people it is, and it gives them a huge kickstarter. It burns fat like nobody's business. I know, because I've been through it, and she's taken many ladies through it herself. Now, when you get a new solution that you can describe why it's not worked for the client before and why it will work this time, what have they been doing wrong, or what have they not been doing that they will now do when they work with you? And take it to the next level, because we can think about all the things that they may have done in the past that haven't worked for them. But now we can start to think about, okay, so actually, what else have I got that's different to everybody else out there in the market? And I've had a few comments on here. Kathleen says, not sure how radical my solution can be. I help small businesses with social media management, provide relief from overwhelm of having to do everything and come up with the content all the time. So yes, I'm going to be completely blunt, just for the sake of help for you and other people, is that yes, you understand, the problem that you're solving, but it does sound like everything else like that out there. So bring it back to your superpower, Kathleen. Think about what it is that's amazing about the way you do it, that you bring to the table, that not everybody else is doing. So when it comes to niching, we can micro niche, and I'm a massive fan. I specialize in micro niching. It is critical in today's market, in the saturated market that we're in, to micro niche. It's imperative. But even when we micro niche, there'll still be people doing what we do. So we have to get my words out, work harder and smarter to really find out what it is that makes us unique. So that's really critical. So have a think about what you bring to the table. Kat says you help them find customers by creating exciting and relevant social media content the right people can't resist. See, Kat's such an awesome help. He's such an awesome help. Kat says fasting, keto diet, love. This especially as a GP need to find out more. Do Nikki's here. She's probably on it already. Yes, you're on it already. I'll leave you guys to it. Honestly, it's brilliant. And Nikki's got so much science. It's grounded in science. It's amazing, honestly. If I had her on here now, you wouldn't be able to stop her from talking about it. She's so excited, as am I. So step 5 is vital to your desirability factor. And kind of one of the last things I want to say, or finish off the steps with at least, because I'm not quite done, is that there might be others out there doing similar things, but you've got to remember this one thing, that the world ain't seen nothing yet. You are amazing. You are unique. You do have it. Even if you can't see it right now, I promise you, you have something unique and amazing and valuable to bring to the table. You are awesome. And we just need to find and really dig into that awesomeness and communicate it in a way so people understand and see the value. No more convincing. I'm done with you convincing. It's time for people to see the value. People need to understand, not people. You need to understand your ideal client from their perspective. So these are the kind of the steps, counting you back, just to recap, not necessarily in the right order or whatever else, but just to recap. But understand your ideal client from their perspective. Why would they want you? Not just like, I would like clients to do this, and I would like clients that see my value. I would like clients that pay my worth. Yes, you do, but why would they want you? That's critical. So understand what genuine problem, externally and internally, that they are suffering from. Understand why they would want and need you and how you can solve that problem. Know what your new unique solution is to their problem, and then communicate that clearly to them in a way that is targeted, slick, clear, understandable, and packs a punch. Nobody wants to listen to a boring pitch. So you need to make it interesting without flowering it up so much that it sounds like a poem that people can't understand. And that generally comes from tapping into your passion, by the way. So would you, and let me know, would you allow me to share something with you that I know is going to help so many of you on this webinar? So I'm not going to move forward. I'm not going to click forward until I get somebody telling me that they're okay. Cool. If Katrina's in, she's like, do it, let's do it. I just said that right, didn't I? I'm so sorry, I can't say it. Oh my God, the yes is like millions of yeses.